Right, morning everyone. We are going to kick off. I think we've given the rest of the chaps enough time to get onto the session. So this morning's Power Half Hour is going to be focused on Facebook. We don't have huge amounts of time, so what I'm going to do is, for the benefit of all, I'm just going to take you through the process of setting up a Facebook ad and also boosting a post. And this is really just so that you can see there are quite a few settings that you can take advantage of and should take advantage of. And hopefully it's going to help you sort of have more effective Facebook advertising. So yesterday I spent some time working with Matt Blewett on some of his advertising that he had. And we were just going through a couple of his ads. So I'm going to just take you and give you a quick look over here. So Matt had a few ads running, but one in particular that was sort of a boost. Now, as you can see over here, Matt had a sort of scrolling presentation going on. And when we went and sort of took a look at the results, there was quite a few sort of hits, quite a number of people that he managed to get hold of. And that was absolutely brilliant for the amount of money that he spent. But equally, he had also run a previous ad which is paused now, so I'll try and go into the insights. Right, so this one over here, spent quite a lot of money, and in terms of local impressions, he got a huge amount of local impressions. He reached a whole bunch of people, but whether or not that ad actually sort of led to anything is questionable. And the reason for that is basically just very, very subtle things. So what you'll see is he had a very broad sort of demographic, and he was looking at 18 to 65-year-olds, men and women, which is pretty much everybody on Facebook, in the area. So what was going to happen over there is he was going to have a huge amount of people that literally just had no interest or relevance to Matt's advertising. And as you can see over here, in terms of link clicks, he got 9 out of all of those people that he connected with. Page likes, one comment and 2 shares, which is it's not terrible, but still. Anyway, so yesterday we went on to an ad, and just the two of us created a random ad together. We chose some pretty broad demographics, but what we did do is we went in and we were trying to start what we call a split test. So what Matt is basically doing is he's running this particular advert for 3 days. What he'll then do is he'll change one thing about the advert. So it might be the image. So he might change the image and then leave the words and the copy exactly as they are. Run that for 3 days and see what the results are like in comparison to the previous ad. What you then do is you take the one that did the best out of the two, and you use that one, and you do a very, very subtle change to the wording. So you run new wording, and you take a look at what the results are compared to the previous ads. And in fact, what you're doing is you're kind of eliminating all the ads that don't work and only sticking with the things that do work. So Matt's just started with this. He's already reached 732 people and had 23 engagements with this advert, right? So that's people actually going onto it. He's had 8 photo clicks, already page likes. Now, the interesting thing over here, if you take a look at the page likes and the people, you can immediately see the demographic that he's targeting is it's just sticking out like a sore thumb over there. In terms of people who are interested in this particular advert. But what you will also see is down at the bottom of the ad, there are actually 16 likes, right? So although it says over here that you've had 1 page like, this particular advert has had 16 likes, which is pretty impressive. So that's just been running since yesterday, probably at about 1 o'clock. But let me just quickly take you through how to boost an ad for those of you guys that don't know. So the first thing that you do is you want to have something that has depth. So let me just go back to the Shuttercraft page. So let's just think. So similar to what Matt said over there, and also Simon, as you can see in the background over there, you know, the first thing you want to do is you want to latch onto a particular theme. So let's stick with spring, and let's just call it bay windows. Nothing better than refreshing that old bay window with some beautiful shutters. Now you're going to notice that what I've put in there doesn't sound very markety. You know, the thing is about Facebook is that it's a very, very much nuanced kind of thing. So how you post your ads, post them as you speak, right? So don't try and be overly clever about it. Try and be as natural as possible, because people really do pick up on that, right? So we've seen a number of examples. We've got one of our franchisees in particular that actually uses an agency to do all of their Facebook marketing. And you know, the results that the agency gets are actually quite low. You know, much lower than what I would expect at least. And really, what it boils down to is just trying to be too clever with the marketing, trying to, you know, add too many hashtags and, you know, all these bits and pieces that you can go back to a client and say, look, I put hashtags in, but in reality they don't really work. So the next thing with your ad is to have a call to action. Now, in this case, you know, I'm not actually going to post this ad, but in this case, let's just say we have a call to action. We're going to say, you know, Super Spring Specials currently on. Super Spring current on. And then, of course, what we do is we say, message me to find out more. So the reason we're saying message me to find out more is because you have got a number of options. You can send people to your website, you can get them to call you, you can do all of these things, but it's very, very difficult to decide and to figure out where your actual clients are coming from unless you get them to contact you directly through Facebook. So yes, you can get them to call you. However, when you ask them where they came from, they might say that they came from the website, they might say that they came from Google, they might say that they came from Facebook, but you know, there's quite a big sort of variance in there. If they did go off of Facebook and contact you through the website, that's still a win. But what you're trying to do at the moment is just trying to sort of get a view as to how effective your Facebook is. Right. So the next thing we're going to do over here is we're going to have to choose an image, right? So if we go to, I'm just going to choose some of the high-res images that you guys have done. So we're talking about a bay window. So we're going to try and look for a bay window image. And these are quite important to select correctly because not all bay window images actually get people to click or inspire people. Now I know that just from a previous experiment, the bay window image that has worked the best out of all bay window images has been Tony Neeson's bay window that he put up a little while ago. So we put up the ad over there. And then we post. So really subtle, really simple, and you just get that in there. Simon, you've done a great job over here too. Yeah, that looks like that's a great ad that you posted over there. Let's just take a look at some of the other stuff the guys have done. Winchester, brilliant. Suffolk, also good. Guide to choosing shutters, that's brilliant. Right, so I'm going to jump over to the Adverts Manager over here, and just going to take you through a bit of demographic profiling, etc. So by the way, to access this Adverts menu, you just go to the bottom over there where it says Create, the bottom left is a little link that just says Adverts, so you just click on that, and that should take you up here. Right, so first thing we're going to do is, with regards to the advert, is create a campaign name. So let's just call it Spring to Action for argument's sake. And then we're going to decide what exactly we want to do with this advert or the campaign. So I generally go with lead generation, just because it's got quite a few options. But you can go through any of the others, right? So brand awareness, local awareness is also a good one that you can run through. But let's just do lead generation for now, and continue. So we're just going to choose an advert set name. So we're going to call this Spring, and then let's just take the demographic, 35 to 55-year-olds. And you choose the correct page, obviously. So choose the Shuttlecraft. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to choose an audience. Right, so where Matt on his first ad went wrong is he selected a particular area. So he basically put in Cheltenham, and then what Facebook does is it does a radius just by default. So what you actually want to do is you want to be very, very specific about where you are going to be placing your ad. So I'm going to, just because Winchester's close by, I'm going to type in Winchester, Hampshire, UK. So as you can see over here, it does quite a big region, which isn't necessarily relevant to you. So what you do is you go onto the actual radius, and then just drop it down as far as you possibly can. But now what you can still see is that the Winchester territory is actually going over onto Southampton. So that's not necessarily going to work for us unless you're doing an advert in conjunction with one of your neighbors. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm just going to get rid of that completely. And down here you can see a little button called Drop Pin. So I'm just going to zoom in on Winchester. I'm going to take the drop pin, click on that, put it in there, and then you'll see over here that it's just giving a coordinate. So just be careful which one you edit. But this you can bring down to, you can bring it down to 1 kilometer, but you could actually bring it down to 3. So now all of a sudden what we've got is a very, very sort of targeted area that we're looking at within Winchester. Now, if you are going to be spending money and you want to make a high impact, it's better to do it in a small area, spend more money on a small area in order to get the highest possible return from that particular area. But if you did want to target your 3 or 4 key areas in your territory, you could go Winchester and then drop a pin once again in Andover, right, and then do that for 3 kilometers, right? So we've got Andover covered over there, and we could say Salisbury and do Salisbury for 3 kilometers. Which is great. So we can take a look over here at the map in Salisbury. There's nobody around him in Salisbury, so maybe what we do is we go 7, and we just create a bigger area. So you guys can do exactly the same thing. You can choose these little areas. You can basically select which area you want to hit. If you thought that there was a lot of business over here in the center, you can just drop a pin right in the middle of all of this, right, and there it'll cover a whole big area for you, and you can just adjust it as you want. Don't worry if they overlap. It doesn't really matter if it overlaps. Facebook is still just going to place the ads in those particular areas. They're not going to do twice as many in a particular area because they overlap. But anyway, so let's just call it this for now. Now, importantly, what you want to do is you want to make sure that your age demographic is always going to be from about 35. So, there's an argument to say you could go down to 32 or 30 or whatever it is, but we know just from the people who are responding to our ads that this 35 demographic is the bottom line. And then if you want to go over 65, that's great, but my advice is basically just look at up to 55 for now, because that really is just your a very focused target market for you. There's no point in advertising to loads and loads of people who just aren't going to buy your product. So over here you can make the call on men or women, but there is a very, very significant difference between the men and women in terms of how they respond. But if you go all and men respond, they might be responding on behalf of their wife. And I've seen that in quite a number of our posts where the husband will spot the ad and then just type in the wife's name so that she gets notified about a particular ad. So just for argument's sake, we're just going to go with women for this particular one. Now, as you can see over here, you can see that we're looking at a potential 37,000 people, the potential reach of this ad. And we have broken it down quite a lot, but we haven't broken it down enough. Right, so the next point is basically your detailed targeting. Now, the activity that I took Matt through yesterday was quite interesting. I just said to him, Matt, just describe your customers. Now, I already know from looking at a number of different sort of Facebook pages within Shuttercraft, and also helping about 7 or 8 of the franchisees recently, I know exactly who the potential customers are, because they're the ones who are liking the pages. They're the ones who are coming on and saying, yes, I like this advert, etc. And Matt didn't disappoint in that he described exactly the same person that I've been seeing in all the other ads. So typically, when we're talking about sort of the 35 to 45, that is the highest point in the demographic of people who are going to be buying shutters. Now, what they tend to have is young children. It tends to be the lady, photos-wise, on their Facebook profiles, will be a lady with their kids, and they are into design. They've just got their life sorted properly. They've come out of that awkward 20 stage, and they're kind of settling down, and they're wanting to establish something, especially with the young families coming along. So, first thing that you can do, right, is you can type in, obviously window blinds, because people would be searching for something like that. You then go into things like parenting, because we know that most of our customers actually do have young children, sort of up to the age of about 7 or so. We can look at interior design as an interest, home renovations, because quite a lot of them are doing extensions, or at least thinking along those lines. You can look at things like garden and home. Motherhood is a really good one. So I quite often use my wife as a bit of a way of gauging what's going on out there. And for a lot of these people, basically what they use Facebook for is almost like an encyclopedia. So, if you want to know about motherhood, there's a group for that. If you want to know about how to get your children more tech savvy, there's a group for that. Pretty much there's a group on Facebook for anything that you could possibly imagine. People really do use them because it's talking to peers basically. So motherhood is a good one, and family is a good one. Right? Window shutters obviously is a great one, and let's even take a look at curtains, because those might be somebody who would look at it. Now, if you just take a look at our potential reach, we're really down to 30,000, right? And this is a good thing. This is a very, very good thing, because you want to get as specific as possible when it comes to your customers. So you might have 20 or 30 different interests over here. A good thing to do is just hit the suggestions button, and what that'll do is that'll take you through a whole bunch of different options based on what you've already chosen. So as an example, Hillary's blinds. If somebody's interested in Hillary's blinds, well, they're certainly going to be interested in talking to us too. So, chuck that in. Let's just see over here. Even things like childcare would work, So go through those things. If you want more advice on how to do that and what to target, give me a shout. But the key thing is definitely to make sure that what you're doing is your potential reach is as targeted as possible. So if you are potentially reaching 10,000 people, there'll be 10,000 of exactly the right people, as opposed to 30,000 of people who might be right. So that's gonna make a big difference. You can save this audience for future use. That's fine. That's no problem at all. And then, of course, over here, you can either do automatic placements where Facebook decides where to, target your ad, which is not a bad idea. You can go and edit the placements. So this is completely up to you, but I would just stick with automatic for now. And then, of course, the budget and schedule. So on these ads, what I would do, especially if they are boosts, like on the first section, right? You take a look at your daily budget, right? And I would put over here 15 to 20 quid. So they are going to give you recommendations, but you can go as low as 10 quid if you want to. It's just the amount of responses that you may particularly get. My advice is go with 20 quid, and don't run this ad for much longer than 3 or 4 days. If you're doing it for a week, that should be all right, but ultimately what you're trying to do right in the beginning is just figure out which ads work, which images work, because images make a massive impact on whether or not people are going to click on your advert or on your or like your page. The wording that you use is going to make a massive difference. So always speak naturally, always make sure that there's a point to it, always make sure that you've got a call to action at the end, and then also how to measure it. So get them to message you or do things like that. As part of the call to action, we've been discussing with numerous franchisees, you could do little tricks. So if you were thinking about running a 15% promotion on your shutters, what you could do to boost the actual awareness of this through Facebook is actually run the ad and say, if you like this page, you get 5% off, or if you like this page, you get 10% off. If you share this page or if you share this advert to your friends, you get 15% off, and actually make the customers work for it. So I've seen this work with a couple of trade partners. Actually, is where I picked up the trick, and it really, really does work well for them. They get lots of likes, they get a lot of interaction with their customers. And I'd highly recommend that you guys do it too. Anyway, so once you've got your start dates and your end dates, just run the times and then literally go through the process. Now, you don't want to run it for 31 days. But let's just say up until Sunday, the 3rd. So there we go. It gives you a bit of a budget, 180 quid that you're going to be spending. So you know exactly what you're in for. Like I said, personally, I would actually do it over a shorter period of time. It's going to be a lot of hard work in the beginning, but once you've actually figured out which ads work for you, life will get a lot easier. So you'll be able to go very, very simply and just go in and just create ads that will work, as opposed to just spending money on something that you have no idea whether or not it will work. So we can get all this kind of stuff done. Yeah, so we've got a few more steps here. Basically, just follow the process after this. It'll take you straight through the thing. The key thing over here today was basically just giving you a way of doing your detailed targeting and also doing your sort of territories and where you're actually targeting your Facebook ad. I would definitely not recommend just doing one single circle because it's going to go all over the place and it's just really not going to work for you. So more than likely what you're going to do is going to be advertising in somebody else's territory too. So those are my hints today for Facebook. Have you guys got any questions? If you could just check them through on the text. No questions? Okay, cool. All right, guys. Listen, thanks everyone for joining. You know, I will. If any of you guys need any sort of one-on-one help like I did with Matt, just give me a shout. You know, it is hard work, Facebook, but it does pay off eventually. So if you guys could just get hold of me, and I'd be more than happy to help. Thanks again for joining. Cheers.